everybody, it's Celeste Joan, and quite a while ago I was cleaning up my entire room, and I was cleaning through my desk, and I found a bunch of my old story ideas, like scattered around in notebooks, and just like random papers I threw in my desk. So I had this novel idea to put all my novel ideas for my novels in one place. I sorted them all out and wrote down like which story they're for, and then I paperclipped everything for them together, and came up with this. Lots of papers, yeah, lots of papers. I don't know how 5th grade Celeste kept this all in, like, sorted in her brain, because as I was going back through it, I'm just like, wait, does this go with this, or with this, or with this? But today I have decided that I'm going to read for you something I wrote, because I don't do that. I really let people read what I write, so I'm going to do that. What I'm going to read for you, it's called Meet the Siblings. I have no idea when I wrote it, but it's basically like the prologue or like first chapter to one of the stories, and it's quite long, so I don't know how long it's gonna take for me to read it. Their family is like war. Not the type where everyone is fighting, but the twisted type where they never quite agree with each other. Some of the time, people fight secretly across the house, but for the most part, the parents agree and the kids get along. If only the parents and kids could agree, there might not be such a war. Not even the figurative war that splits families in two, but the one going on overseas. But here in Brookbanks, going off to war is natural, almost normal for any young male. It's the natural order of things, just how snakes eat mice. But it comes down to who is really willing to let go of a fraction of who they really are. The families stay behind to take care of the land and their families. People from Brookbanks are raised to be selfless and sacrifice their own life for the better of anyone else. This is exactly the way Maria and Eric's father was raised. Maria and Eric chased each other through the forest adjacent to the yard behind their home. The 10, almost 11-year-old is following after her 16-year-old brother to just where the forest starts. "Slow down," she calls ahead to Eric. "I can't keep up." "You're gonna have to try harder if you ever want to be faster than any of the boys in high school," he calls back, running ahead. Eric stops at the edge of the forest and waits for his sister to catch up. "Maybe I don't want to be the fastest runner," she says, catching her breath between words. "I might want to be the best piano player in the entire high school, even better than the music teachers." "You don't even know how to play piano, let alone be better than any of the music teachers." Maria sits down in the grass and Eric follows her lead without hesitating. "When's Daddy coming home?" Maria asks, giving the mood a 180-degree turn. "Does Mommy even know when he's coming back?" Eric's heart drops, but he doesn't show it. "Mom knows, but she won't tell us. She doesn't want us to worry about that type of thing." "But all my friends know when their dads are coming back. Could they be the same date?" She questions. "Don't think about it. It'll only make the pain worse." He starts to play with the grass, trying to find the perfect piece. "I remember coming out here with Dad every day after school. He would teach me how to be the best runner and fighter. Then he would go away for weeks, maybe months at a time. Mom always said he was on business, but I never knew what that meant." Eric positions the grass between his thumbs, puts it up to his mouth, and gently blows, creating the perfect pitch. It rings quietly through the yard to the point where they can almost hear the birds singing along. He picks up 2 sword-length sticks and tosses one to Maria. "Follow my stance and block yourself when necessary." Eric holds his stick with 2 hands right in front of him, and Maria mimics each of his moves, swinging their sticks from left to right, up and down, with only milliseconds of delay for Maria. They turn around each other with a point in the middle to use as a reference. Maria faces away from the house. Eric swings his sword to Maria's left side, but she stops his stick midway through his strike. "Not bad," he says, holding his stick against Maria's with a strong enough force to stay at a stalemate. "Try to block yourself and take a strike this next time. After you block yourself. Got that?" "Got it," she smiles. They both reposition themselves and get ready to block the attack. Eric takes a step forward and swings it to the side. Maria blocks and gives another swing. Then Maria swings back and forth, trying to get a hit on her brother, but Eric's attention shifts past Maria. She takes a long swing, expelling him to the back. He drops his stick and freezes, staring off past her. Maria's stick comes in contact with his side. "Maria!" he yells. "Why did you stop? I was finally starting to get the hang of it." She tosses her stick into the ground. "Eric, what's going on? Did I hit you too hard?" She walks in front of him, but he pushes past her. "Dad," he whispers. "Dad," he says, starting to walk back to the house. I thought we weren't talking about him. She turns around, her heart sinking with each step back, and stares at Eric as he walks. He starts into a run and then a sprint, going back to their small house as fast as possible. Dad! He yells again, picking the pose up to each meme. Dad! Maria starts to run after him. Both of their hearts are beating out of their chests, both for different reasons. Eric is amazed at what he sees, and Maria can hardly keep up with her brother. Maria's gaze shifts from Eric to beyond him on the patio. Her face brightens as she starts running alongside Eric. They run to the edge of the patio and stop at the smile of their father. He picks up and swings around Maria as she laughs. How old are you both now? He asks his kids. I'm going to be 11 next week, Maria says through her giggles. I'm 16, Eric says coldly. I got my license and I'm dating a wonderful girl. What else did I miss? He asks. Eric wants to open up and tell him everything that happens, but he didn't want him to think that it's okay for him to leave his kids for such a long time. Nope, that's it, he says, walking into the house. Why couldn't he just apologize for leaving so long? I just want an apology. I don't care how good it is, he thinks, walking down the hall to his room. Just a simple, I'm sorry. What's going on? His mom asks, stopping him from going into his room. Dad's out back, he says with tears threatening to flow down his face. Didn't you know he was going to be home today? Eric walks into his room and looks out his window. His dad and Maria are playing around in the backyard. How can she not be mad at him? He left us here while risking his life, and for what? To say that he was in the army? Suzanne, his mother, walks outside and runs into Chris's arms. Oh, of course she would be happy. Her husband came home early and surprised everyone. They don't even seem to care that he only emailed with Mom. He only answered one of my emails. I missed my dad. What are you doing back so early? Suzanne asks her husband. I wanted to surprise you, so I told you I'd be home a week from today, he replies. If you don't mind, I'd prefer this conversation to include my entire family. I don't want him to feel any more left out than he already is, he says. I think that's a wonderful idea. I'll go get Eric. He walks in and goes into Eric's room. He opens the door with a gentle knock. What's going on? You've barely said a word to me, and when you did, your words were cold. Eric turns away from his father, hoping he understands what he has to say without words. I don't want to talk to you, he says softly. I have nothing to say. Please, Eric, look at me with your brown eyes and tell me what I did wrong. Christopher sits down beside his son. Explain how we can bring back what we had before I left. Eric contemplates it for a minute, teetering back and forth between not answering and telling him everything. He wants to let his dad know everything he's missed. All the school events, the fundraisers, training his little sister, taking care of Maria, and waiting to make her deepest wishes come true. Too bad she doesn't know how to play piano. Maria wants to play piano better than any of the music teachers, Eric finally says, after long moments of silence. I don't know if that's just her young mind talking or if she really wants to learn piano. What do you think? He asked, letting him in a little. I think all great musicians have to have some turmoil in life. Maria hasn't had one, Christopher says, knowing exactly what he's doing, but Eric has no idea. He lets his heart carry on without his brain catching up. She hasn't had a turmoil, he says, turning back to look at his father. What about when you left us and just then told us you were in the army? We were fatherless for 9 months. That's hard on us. I had to teach her how to run and keep up with me. I was just showing her how to block and attack using sticks. That's not the job for her 16-year-old brother. That should be the father's job, not mine. His head drops and his voice lowers. I'm sorry, Dad, that was really out of line. But you told me what I needed to hear. You told me the truth. He stands up and starts for the door. I just want to talk to you all together. Teaching Maria sword skills? Good for you. And that is the beginning of that story. I don't know, I hate third-person writing, and I'm surprised I actually wrote in it. So, good job, Celeste. Good for you. So, if you guys want to hear more of my stories or anything like that, just let me know, and maybe this will be like a regular thing. But until then, I will see you guys next week. Bye! That is really weird to think about. I am talking to a 21-year-old me. You're 21 years old, and hopefully you're at college doing what you want to.